You've probably clicked on this video, sat here wondering what movies I've watched this week. Well, thank you for clicking on this video. Let's see what films I've watched this week in this week's episode of the Movie Wrap Up. You're watching Steve's Movie Wrap Up, episode 41, right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. The first movie we'll be reviewing in this episode is It Ends With Us. So the first movie I had seen this week was It Ends With Us, and I gave it 4 stars over on Letterboxd. So I'm so surprised that I actually enjoyed this movie. Blake Lively, wife of Ryan Reynolds, stars in this film. And also I should note that during opening weekend she knocked her husband's Deadpool and Wolverine movie off the #1 top spot in the movie charts here in the UK at least. And I can see why. But she stars in the film and plays a character called Lily Blossom Bloom. That is her full name, by the way, in the film. She is an entrepreneur who opens up a flower shop in Boston, and as we see at the beginning of the film, we learn that her father, Andrew Blossom, has passed away. She attends his funeral, and she has to think of 5 great things to say about him. She writes down the 5 numbers in list form on a napkin, but has nothing on the list apart from those 5 numbers. She ends up on the roof of these apartments where she comes across this guy who happens to be her boyfriend and future husband in the film. They start to talk. They tell each other things that you probably wouldn't normally tell someone when you first meet, and before being interrupted they start to kiss, but they do get interrupted, and I won't say why, because I don't want to go into too much spoiler detail from the film in case you're looking to watching this film for yourself. I will say though that this film does deal with domestic violence and sexual violence in a sensible manner and in a sensitive way that wouldn't upset the audience or trigger audiences too much. The film, I should also add, is based on a novel that I myself haven't read before, and I do believe there is a second novel called It Starts With Us, so I wouldn't at all be surprised if a sequel to this film came out in the next few years with the same title as the sequel to the for the book. The acting performances in this film I thought was done brilliantly, and despite the topic and subject in the film, I thought they handled it well and in a sensitive way as well. This kind of film, which I would say is more of a drama than anything else, isn't my usual go-to film, which is why I'm actually surprised when I left the cinema, and I enjoyed this film because the acting performances were great, but also the pacing was done in a good way as well. It told the story it needed to tell within the space of the running time, which is 2 hours and 10 minutes, and the film kept me engaged all throughout. There wasn't a single moment in this film that made me feel bored. Domestic violence does happen a lot, unfortunately, in relationships, and I think that telling the story the way it was told was an important part behind this film, especially as this could encourage men or women in those situations to speak up and get out of those situations. There was a few issues that I did have with the movie. It was minor issues, mind, but the issues that I did have was there was some time jump moments, which I do get, but for me it did kind of feel like the movie was rushed a little, like when Lily got engaged to her partner. Straight away we see them get married soon after. I would have loved to maybe see them celebrate their engagement with friends and family or something like that. We see Lily's friend Alyssa become pregnant, and those pregnancy scenes went by really quickly, but then I guess we wasn't really following her character too much in this movie. Speaking of Alyssa, by the way, I don't know why, but I didn't really like her first scene on screen because she sees that Lily has got the keys to her own flower shop business and sees that there's a help wanted sign in the window. Alyssa is looking for a job, so she goes into the shop and inquires about the shop, what it's turning into. Finds out that it is becoming a flower shop, says that she doesn't like flowers, so turns around and leaves, but as she does, Lily stops her and says, "Would you like a job?" And to that her response was that that was exactly what she wanted as she came through the door. I don't know why, but that scene just didn't sit right with me. Also, there was some scenes of flashbacks between Lily and her childhood love Atlas, I believe his name was, and that at first confused me because we saw Lily and her partner in the present day, then we see her in this house seeing this other guy and they were kissing. I just got so confused about it. It wasn't until halfway through the film that I understood that the scenes between her and this guy Atlas, who by the way both of them did look younger in the flashback scenes, was a flashback. It just threw me off at first that it was a flashback scene. I just wish they kind of made it a little easier for audiences to understand it was a flashback scene, especially when they were dropping these scenes throughout the film as well. And also as well, I just want to say that for some weird reason, Blake Lively and the actress that played the younger version of Blake Lively's character, weirdly, they looked really alike, and that's also the other thing that really confused me as well about the film. But is this a film that I will watch again? I think it would be, to be honest. Is this a film I would recommend? Yeah, I think it would be. And is this a film that I would buy and keep on digital and watch over and over again when it does come out on digital? I think it would be. I wouldn't mind watching it from time to time to see the acting performances again, because for me, I did enjoy the acting in this film. It Ends With Us, though, is now currently showing in cinemas and theatres worldwide. Trap. So I did see Trap and I gave it 2.5 stars over on Letterboxd. Trap is the latest movie directed by M. Night Shyamalan, who has also directed the film Old, which I remember seeing in cinemas a few years ago. And I did enjoy that film, but did I enjoy his latest directorial entry? I actually did. I have heard a lot of people give this film mixed reviews on social media, from general audiences to critics as well. Now, this film has been out for over a week, and it has taken me a lot longer to watch this in cinemas than I thought originally, due to how busy I've been lately. But that being said, though, I am glad to have seen this film in cinemas. It was one of those types of films that, despite it being in the horror genre, I would say it was more of a psychological thriller than anything else, because there wasn't a lot of horror elements in here, apart from some of the dialogue, I guess. I did have a problem with the script, to be fair, because there was times for me where there were certain characters saying things, or the tone of how they said things, and to me, it just made no sense. Now, I don't want to discredit Shyamalan's work here, because he can do some great movies, don't get me wrong, but it just felt as though it was almost like Shyamalan just put the script into some sort of AI generator, and this is what it came out with, I guess, which is unfortunate. There was also some moments of the movie which I found to be rather confusing, especially one scene where Cooper, the main character in the film, was in the car with someone and started to call this person his mother. I don't know, it just seemed a bit odd. As for the acting, though, I thought the cast members in this film, despite the problems with the script, they were tremendous, I thought, and played the characters well, especially Josh Hartnett. I thought he played the role as Cooper / the Butcher really well. The actress that portrayed his on-screen daughter, Riley, I thought she was good in her role as well. And also what I did enjoy about this movie, which I actually wasn't expecting, is the fact that the entire film doesn't take place in the concert arena. It's not a single location film as the trailer depicts it to be. There are some locations used in the second half of the film that I actually enjoyed that aspect of the film. There is a few twists and turns in this film, by the way, so if you thought that the trailer was giving too much away with Cooper being the butcher that the police are looking for, then don't worry, because there is a few twists and turns in here which I won't spoil in case you do want to see this movie for yourself. The movie does have a running time of 1 hour and 45 minutes, and I won't lie, going towards the end of the film, it did start to feel like it was dragging on. I won't lie, though, I felt the same way a few years ago when I did see the movie Old in cinemas, another film which was directed by Shyamalan. Also, there is a mid-credit scene in the movie as the movie ends as well, which takes place just as the first set of credits begin to roll on this film. Would I like for Shyamalan to do a sequel to this film, given how it ended, which I won't spoil? I would like to see what happens next, but it is whether Shyamalan would love to visit this film again, though is the thing. Is this a movie I will likely buy and keep on digital when it gets released? Yeah, I would definitely be happy to watch this movie again, sure. And is this a film I would recommend people to go and see? If you are into your psychological thrillers, then sure, definitely check this movie out. But Trap is now showing in cinemas and theatres worldwide. Alien Romulus. Just before we do move on to Alien Romulus, I do also want to add that I did see Deadpool and Wolverine for a second time this week with my support workers and a client. And my opinion on Deadpool and Wolverine hasn't changed. It was a great movie. I still found it great on the second watch. And I don't think I'm going to watch it anymore in cinemas. I think twice is enough. But I think maybe when it comes out on Disney Plus later this year, then definitely I may go back and rewatch it again, because it was such a great movie. But let's move on to the final movie that I did see. And again, this one I did see in cinemas this week. And it's actually a new release that's come out in cinemas and theatres worldwide this week. And I'm talking about Alien Romulus, which I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd. So Alien Romulus is a movie that is directed by Fede Alvarez, who directed the 2013 Evil Dead movie, as well as Don't Breathe and Don't Breathe 2. So he is a well-known horror director. So what did I think of his take or vision on the Alien franchise? Well, I am going to say this. I think the set designs on this movie were great, and it is, from my understanding, that Fede himself did say that he did his best to make sure that for the majority of the movie, it was all done with practical effects, like the face huggers. They weren't CGI. They were made from practical effects, and the same with the alien themselves, or as they are called, xenomorphs. And I will be honest, it is nice to see that they put so much heart and effort into this film with those set designs and practical effects. It kind of made it feel like it was going back to its roots from the original movie called Alien in 1979. Am I a huge fan of the Alien franchise? I'm not, although I will say that I did do a movie binge a couple of years ago when the Alien franchise was on Disney Plus here in the UK, as I never had seen them before. So I have only seen the Alien franchise once, and maybe I should have gone back to this franchise to see the movies again before watching this one. I will say that this does work as a standalone movie, so I guess you don't need to see the original films or any of the films in the franchise to understand this one. But I will say that the events from this movie takes place between the original Alien movie from 1979 to the sequel Aliens, which released in 1986. So this film takes place between both of those movies. The acting in this film I thought was fine, to be honest. Kaylee Spaney is a standout performer for me in this film, though. She brings the heart and emotion to this film, I like to think, and the supporting cast members I thought did a great job in the roles that they all played. The film does have a running time of nearly 2 hours long. It did halfway through the movie, for me anyway, start to feel like it's running time. But don't let that put you off seeing this film, though, because I still had a great time watching this. The music scoring was just on the next level, especially hearing the music scoring in the cinema as well. It just felt even more dramatic and also built a lot of tension, and at times I will say that the music scoring also felt quite cinematic as well. There are some questionable moments that you will see in this film that I won't dive into because of spoilers, which makes you question, would you really do that in real life if you was in those characters' situation? So there is that to think about when watching this movie as well. Without going into spoilers here, I do want to discuss a little bit about the ending, because it just seemed as though we had the final act for this film, and then just when you think it is all over and the credits are about to roll, something else happens, and then it just seems like that is the final act in the, for this film, if you know what I mean. It's almost like they didn't know how to end the film or couldn't decide on what ending to go for, so they just shoved both endings in. But I will say though, the second ending we got, it took the film up a notch, and it was definitely a really wild ending, to be honest. Is this a film I will likely watch again? I reckon so. I mean, at least here in the UK, it will be released on Disney Plus later this year, so there is no reason for me to buy the film on digital. So if I do want to give this film another rewatch along with the rest of the Alien franchise, then I will do so later this year when it becomes available on Disney Plus. But Alien Romulus is now showing in cinemas and theatres worldwide. And that is all that I've got time for this week's episode of Steve's Movie Wrap Up. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what films you guys have been watching this week, whether it is on streaming, whether it's out in cinemas, and as always, whether it's old or new. Really do appreciate your comments in the comment section down below. And hey, if you are new around here and you like what you see, then feel free to hit that subscribe button down below to become a Steve-O. Your next YouTube video will be out actually tomorrow, Monday the 19th of August 2024 at 4 PM UK time, because guess what, folks? It is the return of Steve's weekly podcast. I've been filming all week this week, and every now and then between when I last did a vlog up until now, basically. So there's some bits coming up that I did throughout July, and obviously we've got some of the bits that I've been up to this week as well, coming up in this week's episode of the weekly vlog. So feel free to check that out. Like I said, it's back tomorrow, Monday the 19th of August 2024 at 4 PM UK time. And hey, let me know in the comment section down below whether you guys are looking forward to the return of Steve's weekly vlog or not. Hopefully you guys are. Anyway, that's all from me, but for now, goodbye, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys again in my next YouTube video.